So when I talk about acceptance, there is there is only one kind of acceptance I know of: radical self-acceptance. As in, I accept myself for who I am, for better, for worse, for good, bad, and the ugly. Because a lot of times we are more than happy to accept the societally approved, positive, beautiful, fancy aspects of ourselves. But when it comes to the unshiny, rough on the edges, not so graceful, not so accomplished, or the parts of ourselves which are not fully outblown or which are not approved by the societies or cultures or families, becomes a part of tough part to integrate to our identity. So we reject those parts. We don't do it consciously, we do it unconsciously, and we also do it, again, like I said, because we are trained to do it by society, family, and culture and all, to reject certain parts of ourselves because they are not fancy, they are not bringing us accolades and praises, they are somewhat dirty, they are little bit dark, a little bit uncomfortable, little unapproved, or those kind of things, something that we are not an expert in, or something that we are not qualified in. These are the terms these are the terms we use to tell ourselves that somehow we are not good enough, that we are not worthy of accepting. That is why acceptance is such an important thing, but it is also something very difficult to accomplish, and very few people manage to do it. Because acceptance not only means just accepting and glorifying the shiny, positive, beautiful aspects of who we are. Let's say I'm an accomplished basketball player, a very good academician, a super researcher, and I have gold medals, and I'm very good at sports, I'm athletic, I am born beautiful, I maintain well, and I have this perfect teeth, whatever it is that are actually good and approved, and a lot of people automatically give you praise for. They become easy to accept because, hey, that becomes part of who we are, and we are happy about it. And then comes the problem with the less accomplished, not so attractive parts of who we are that we refuse to accept. There are times when not only accepting, but we refuse to even acknowledge them. We don't even look at them or pay attention to them, that those aspects exist within us. That's a problem. Because when we reject parts of who we are all humans. Don't forget this. We are all imperfect. And there is no concept of perfection. Zero. Forget about it. Whoever told you perfection exists, whoever told you accomplishing something great is perfection, bullshit. Don't buy that kind of crap. There is no concept of perfection. It's just a dictionary word. It never exists. It's never existed. It will never exist. Burn it into your brains. So, we are all humans. We are all imperfect. We all have flaws, weaknesses, places where we fail, places where we fail terribly, places where we have wronged mistakes, we have done so badly that it instills a sense of shame and guiltiness that we cannot even fully pay attention to it. Like we are just trying to tiptoe around those negative parts of who we are. That's a problem. Don't do that. Self-acceptance and radical self-acceptance means accepting you for who you are, the good, bad, and ugly all alike. Can you do that? That requires a lot of courage, willingness to look at yourself in the mirror, not the physical mirror, but all the ugliness that we hold inside of us. The imperfections, the wrongs, the mistakes, the crooked teeth, and the all imperfections, not just the physical imperfections. Let's say I have self-esteem issues. Let's say I do not respect myself enough. Let's say I easily believe people and I think it's a weakness and I don't like that part of who I am. Let's say there are aspects like I tend to exploit other people if I'm not cautious. I tend to exploit people because of my over zealous nature, and it works, but I know inherently that that behavior is somehow not a very, very good one. So it may be any such behavior like this that somehow either you cannot accept, or the society or culture and parents and families and the crowd around you, the groups you associate with, reject. And that becomes a problem. One should be able to accept oneself for who they are. The good, bad and the ugly. The parts that we don't like, the parts that we fail constantly, the parts that we try, the parts that we cannot even try, it's like out of our league, and the parts that are downright ugly. Really, we all have all those parts. Majority of them we don't act on those darknesses. Some do, some don't do, but still they are all part of who we are. Once you make them conscious and aware, you pay attention to them, don't tiptoe around them, don't ignore them, don't feel like, oh, I'm so ashamed of it, I don't even want to acknowledge it. Just because you don't acknowledge doesn't mean it just disappears. You have to acknowledge it for what it is. The truth, that is what the beauty of the truth is. It may be very uncomfortable digesting initially, but that's the only way you can live freely. Because the parts that you don't pay attention to, the parts that you ignore, the parts that you want to deny and delude yourself into not existing, they keep coming back to bite you. That is how you run in cycles. You run in circles in your life. The same patterns keep running in your life. If you want to break those cycles, you have to work on yourself. And the first step is to learn to look at ourselves without filters, without judgments, without any social, cultural, familial, traditional, gender filters, just as a self, who we are, whatever we have accepted, whatever we have formed our identity as. This is me. Only once we start doing that, the real healing, the real working on ourselves, the inner workings will start. And that's a good thing. That's a good journey. Otherwise, you're running on automatic, subconscious, based on the triggers and loops and that are being run around you, people and stuff and situations and emotions and thoughts, not just emotions, thoughts and behaviors that are being directed by something external. And that directs your life, and you keep going around in circles doing that. You seek same kind of friendships, you seek same kind of partners, you seek same kind of friends and family, you seek same kind of belief systems, you seek same kind of groups and circles of people and lifestyle. And it keeps running in circles without never ending, without ever changing. And the acceptance is the first step. At the very least, acknowledging, looking at yourself with zero filters is the one first important step to start breaking that cycle of automatic, unconscious, subconsciously driven behavior, but rather be conscious. And to accept that, you have to look at yourself unapologetically. Shame, without any shame, guilt, and all. They may come up. The shame will come up. The guilt may come up for mistakes or very non so attractive things that you have done. It will come up to the surface. But that doesn't mean you can keep ignoring them and living a false life forever. So keep looking at them, and look at them without filters and judgments or labels. Don't even give labels. Just let yourself, just keep it in your head and your heart and acknowledge it. Acknowledge it, that it is there, that it is somehow a part of who you are. First, accepting every single aspect of who we are is an important step to whatever healing, whatever journey, personal journeys we go on. Otherwise, we are going to be automatically stuck in unhealthy, toxic cycles, loop after loop after loop. Same things going on around and around and around. And we also make ourselves available to abuse. We may abuse others, and which also means by universal law, somebody else will abuse us. And again, like I said, it becomes a toxic cycle all over again. To do something about it, acknowledge yourself for who you are fully, thoroughly, unfiltered. That acceptance is very important. And the parts that we don't accept is the parts we are constantly looking to seek approval in others. If we cannot accept ourselves and we are constantly trying to hide it or put on makeup to it and try to present it in a different way to others, how can we ever expect some other person on the outside who is looking to exploit us to accept us, the same things that we are trying to reject in ourselves? When you look at it that way, you can see the absurdity in it. It doesn't work that way, but that's how vast majority of us are living our lives. Look at yourself for who you are, unfiltered. Then that's the first step. Acknowledge and accept. Irrespective of how fancy or non-fancy the personality is, the inner personality and outside personality is. And that's important. And this is where I'll stop for today.